Set 100 0 versus missing versus blank technical question and answers.
Thank you, YouTube. We reached 2,000 subscribers. I am so grateful for all the support you've shown my channel.
Answers are highlighted in green. Now there are certain key takeaways representing 0, missing and blank. So let's understand what are the different interpretations with respect to these three terminologies. Now 0 is something valid, meaningful and a numeric value. Now, say for example, I have 1000 rupees, right? If I don't add 0, the value will be only 1, right? So, the more you add 0, the it becomes more meaningful, right? It becomes 1, and if you add 0, it becomes rupees 10, then it becomes 100, then it becomes 1000, then it becomes 10,000. So 0 is not something weird or it does not have any meaning. No, 0 is very valid, and it contains too much of weightage for changing the interpretation and giving the meaningful numeric value. So 0 has its own importance in mathematics and statistics field. Now, when we come to the missing is something like no data. Now, it could also be like data was not collected or not unavailable, right? So missing terminology means the data was not collected. Like say for example, if I have specific physician, right? The person just forgot to collect the data, or like the data is not available. Now we'll see certain various examples in this question and answer set as to what is data not collected or unavailable. Now data not collected, it could be like say a specific monitoring person purposely did not collect the data, or missed the collect data just because that person forgot to collect data. And unavailability is something that the data was not available, right? And the third terminology here is the blank. Now blank, it means like it's specifically related to not applicable or condition not met. So whenever there are any certain situations, like say for example, we have any kind of information, so in those scenarios the blank could be not applicable or condition not met. So we will see various scenarios and in various situations in specific domains as to how we try to understand the difference between 0, missing and a blank. Question 1, adverse event duration. In SDTM AE and TTC is blank for a patient whose AE is ongoing at data cutoff, right? What does this blank indicate? Now remember one thing, for this specific patient the AE is ongoing, right, at the specific data cut. So that AE has not stopped, whether the status is ongoing. So the option A is AE duration is 0 days. No, we are talking about the end date and not about the duration. Now B says AE did not occur. Now AE has occurred, it is ongoing, right? But the end date is blank. So that does not mean that AE did not occur. If AE had not occurred, then how come the AE is ongoing, right? So this is not the right answer. Data entry error. Now it cannot be a data entry error because there could be a certain kind of situations where the AE end date is not yet known. Now a blank end date indicates the event is ongoing and the end date is not available yet. So whenever the AE started, right, it is ongoing, but the AE has not stopped. So when that adverse event actually stops in that specific patient, then the end date will be available at that specific point. That's the reason here the correct answer is option C, which is AE end date is not yet known. Question 2, laboratory result value. In LB, LBSTRESN is equal to 0 for serum glucose. How should this be interpreted? Now option A is lab test was not performed. Now if the lab test was not performed, then how come the serum glucose value is 0? So this is a contradictory option. So this is not the right answer. Now result is missing. Now as we understood the earlier slide, there's a difference between missing and 0. 0 is a valid numerical value, whereas missing is something like it is not collected or it is unavailable. But here the data is available and its value is 0. So hence this is not the right answer. Now the data entry placeholder, now this is not absolutely not the correct answer. So here the correct answer is true measured value is 0. Now 0 is a very valid numeric value and it represents an actual measured results. Hence the correct answer is C. Question 3. Vital signs measurement. VSS-TRESN is missing, right? For blood pressure in SDTM, VS, which is vital signs. What is the most appropriate interpretation? Now option A says blood pressure was 0. No. Now as we know, that is a difference between missing and 0. So 0 and missing, they are not equal, right? So patient has no vital signs. Now this is not absolutely correct, because if the blood pressure is missing, there could be some other vital signs data available. You may never know. So this is not the right answer. Now vital signs, it has various parameters, like it could have systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, and various other parameters which are available in the clinical trial study, like say the body temperature, then the whatever is your breaths contain or beats per minute, so those kind of other parameters are there. But it could so happen that the blood pressure is missing but other vital signs parameters were available. So option D says measurement was normal. Now missing and normal is something contradictory, right? If the value itself is missing, then how come the measurement was normal? So this is the contradictory option. So the correct answer is measurement was not collected, that is why it was missing. So not collected, unavailable, or it could be some other reason. So the correct answer is B. Missing numeric values indicate data was not collected or unavailable. There could be some technical issues or some manual issue, where the blood pressure was not corrected, right? Hence the reason is missing. Question 4. Concomitant medication dose. In CM, DM dose is equal to 0. What does this most likely mean? As we know, 0 is a valid and a numeric meaningful value, right? So the option A says dose information missing. No. Missing and 0 both are different, right? Medication was stopped. No. If the medication was stopped, then how come the dose value is 0? So this is not the right answer. Invalid data. Absolutely not. 0 is not a invalid data, whereas in fact 0 is a very valid and a meaningful value. So this is not the right answer. So the correct answer is patient took 0 dose. So correct answer is C. 0 indicates the patient received a dose of 0. For example, say titration or hold, right? So there could be such kind of scenarios. Question 5. Exposure end date. Now EXNTC is blank in EX for a subject who discontinued early. Why? Now option A says exposure never started. Now if exposure was never started, then how did that patient discontinue, right? So this is not the right answer. End date is 0. Now end date cannot be 0. End date, it has a specific a number or a DDMMYY. So it has a something kind of it could be either in the character format, the date, so and then we convert into numeric by certain functions in SAS. So this is not the right answer. data is missing by error. As we know, there is a difference between a missing and a blank, right? So missing is something like, not collected or unavailable, right? So this is not the right answer. So the correct answer is end date is unknown or not recorded. So if that patient discontinued early, then the end date exposure, it could be blank because that patient never returned back to that specific study. So we don't know what was the end date of that exposure, right? So it was a volunteer consent of that specific patient that who choose to discontinue, like, without giving, like, another date. So we do not know what is the end date of that exposure. So hence it is unknown and not recorded. So blank character dates indicate unknown or unrecorded dates and not numeric missing, right? Question 6. Tumor assessment result in TRSTRECN is missing for a scheduled visit. What does this signify? Now, tumor size was 0. No. 0 and missing is different. No tumor present. If the tumor was not present, then how it could go as missing, right? So this is not the right answer. Uh, if the tumor was not present, that means test was performed, right? So it is the contradictory statement. And when it was performed, then how did it go missing? So these are all our contradicting statements whenever you deal with such scenarios and questions. So you need to remember all these things. So option D says disease progression. No. So the correct answer is assessment was not performed. That is why the value is missing for a specific scheduled visit. So the correct answer here is C. Missing indicates the assessment was not performed or data unavailable. Question 7. Adam baseline flag. In ADSL, ABLFL is blank for a parameter. What does this imply? Now, ABLFL is nothing but a baseline flag for a specific parameter in ADSL. Now, the option E says baseline value is 0. No, 0 is a value and blank is something like, it's not collected or unavailable. So, this is not the right answer. Flag is missing due to error. No, missing and blank is completely different. And baseline was normal. Now if the baseline was normal, then it should have some value, but here the baseline, there is no value. In fact, it is blank, right? So this is not the right answer. Baseline does not exist for this record, so this is the correct answer. Now the blank flags indicate the condition is not applicable or not missing. Question 8. Subject age. In demographics, age is missing. What is the correct interpretation? Now subject age is 0. No. 0 is a valid number. Now you cannot have a specific age of a human being as 0. I hope, like, you'll have 6 months, 1 year, then 10 months baby, or like, 10 years boy or 25 years girl. So age is a number. It cannot be 0, right? But yes, it can be missing, but it cannot be 0. That is not practically and theoretically possible, like, in clinical trial study. Now option B says subject is a newborn. Now if a subject is newborn, that does not mean, like, the age will be 0. Age will be, some say, even if it's a newborn, it will have 10 days, 15 days, 25 days, or 1 month. Some value it will have, either in days, months, or years as the specific age variable. So this is not the right answer. Age is confidential. Absolutely not. Now this is a very contradictory statement because age is a very specific and an important factor when we do the clinical trial study. Based on the age only we try to decide whether to how patients will be recruited, they will be screened, or they will be taken the informed consent and they will be allowed to participate in the specific study. So age plays a very important and a pivotal role in clinical trials, like, because without the age, I don't think so, like, the clinical trials can exist, and it cannot continue and it cannot start. So the correct answer here is age was not collected. So missing numeric values mean the information was not available or not captured. So the monitoring visit site, that person specific patient forgot to capture the data or enter the data, so hence it is not available. So in such scenarios, what you can do is, as a data management person or a data entry person, your duty and responsibility is to ensure that you raise a query to the site and ask for whether the data for age was captured or not, or whether it is possible to be available for this. So this is a way to fill this missing value. But the question here, meaning here is, if age is missing, it means age was not collected. Question 9, ECG interpretation. In EG, EGORRES is blank, while EGSTRESC is equal to normal. Now, why is EGORRES blank? Now, the correct answer is original result was not collected. As we know, blank means nothing but not collected. Now, original result was 0. No, 0 and blank are absolutely different terminologies. I hope till now you might be understanding the difference between these two. Now, option C says derived value was replaced by original. No, data inconsistency. Now, if the data is inconsistency, then how come the original values for EG is blank, right? So this is not the right answer. So the meaning for this EOG RRES is blank is nothing but original result was not collected. Now the blank character values indicate original text result was not recorded. Question 10, death flag in ADSL. Now the death flag is N versus death flag is blank. What is the difference? Now option A says both means subject is alive. No. N means the death has not occurred, right? Whereas blank means it is not applicable or the condition is not met. But during the course of the clinical trial, death can happen anytime and condition can met anytime, right? Now option B says blank means missing data. No, blank does not mean missing data. Blank is something like, the condition has not met, whereas missing is something where the data was not collected or it was not unavailable, right? Now blank means death is unknown. No, the condition has not met, or that specific death has not occurred yet, right? So the correct answer here is C, N confirms that death has not occurred, where the blank means it is right now not applicable. Understood? So that can happen at any point of time. So it, no matter, even if the data is blank in this specific flag during the course of the study, but after reaching the end of the study, you may see some data in this death flag, right? So those kind of information you may see. So explicit values confirm status, while blank indicates non-applicability. Now, N is confirmed that death has not occurred to that specific patient, whereas blank is something it is not applicable right now, whether the death has occurred or not, right? So this is what is the difference between these two. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment mentioning any topic that you want me to make a video. Looking forward for a positive response. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.